What's up, guys? Trent Palmer here. I know last week I briefly touched on the fact that the plane was down for the time being, and it was really because of a number of things, but the nail in the coffin was that I had a f***ing prop strike.
I'm Trent Palmer. I fly drones for a living and bush planes for fun. Follow along as I journey off the beaten path of aviation.
All right, guys, so the way that this prop strike came about is kind of a weird story. Basically, I was out at the plane, polishing it all up, getting it all nice and ready because I was going to go out and shoot a video for you guys the following day. And this was last week. I think it was on Tuesday. And so in preparation for the following day's video, I decided, hey, I'm going to go throw some gas in so I'm all ready. If I want to come out tomorrow morning, fire this thing up and go shoot at sunrise, I can. So, just like regular, I went in, fired up the plane, taxiing over to the fuel pump. And now as I'm pulling up to the fuel pump or on the open ramp, I'm just taxiing along, all is fine and well, and out of nowhere, boom! Now the plane's shaking like crazy for a split second. I don't know what's happening. I thought my prop just fell apart or that maybe I shot like a piston out of the side or something, but then I saw a piece of debris fly out to my left, some yellow thing, and instantly after I saw that, I said, I know what that is. That's a piece of surveying equipment. The Reno Stead Airport has been under construction for a little while now. They're working on runway 8 and 26. They're actually tearing it out, and while they're doing it, they're doing some maintenance on the ramp as well. There is a NOTAM for there being maintenance on both the runway as well as a portion of the ramp. Now, the portion of the ramp that's NOTAMed is in front of the grandstands, and it has a standard FAA barricade around it. So basically the NOTAMed area that was under construction, you couldn't even taxi to. Now this piece of surveying equipment, the little yellow tripod with the prism on the top, was just sitting out in the open ramp. And it did end up having, I think, like a 1 foot tall cone underneath it. But the long and short of it is I didn't see that thing for a second and I taxied right into it. Now, obviously, as soon as that happened, there was a moment of me wondering what the heck just happened, and then followed by a bunch of cuss words, probably every single one I knew, out of the frustration of realizing that I wasn't going to be flying for a bit, and I just wrecked my $2,500 prop. Now, the biggest thing I should touch on, too, this was just the unfortunate timing of it is what killed me the most, because as a lot of you guys have seen, I did that engine work a couple weeks ago. I'll post a link to that video up here, but essentially, that money that I put towards that was my budget and all my spending money for the next couple months as far as upgrades or replacement parts for the Kitfox. So that one right there, it already capped off all the money I had. Now, you guys also saw the vlog I did, I believe, after that, where my muffler exploded. So, okay, now on top of that, I gotta buy a new muffler. One other thing I didn't show you guys, that same day that my muffler fell apart, I found threads on my bush wheels, which meant that I probably need to replace the bush wheels. So obviously before even going into this prop strike, I had a bunch of expenses that just kept getting thrown on me, and it just, you know, I think bad luck, maybe it comes in threes. I'm hoping it's done now, but essentially between the exhaust, the tires, and then the prop, I'm like 3 strikes, I'm out, I'm grounded. After I got my wits together, I kind of left my plane there on the ramp, and I went up and I talked to the airport manager, mainly to get in contact with the construction people so I can notify them of what happened and let them know I broke their tripod. At that particular moment, I kind of was feeling like, well, I taxied into this thing, this is my fault. I owe this construction crew a new tripod. In hindsight, I started thinking about it again, and I'm like, well, hold on, that thing should have been identified, that should have been marked, blah, blah, blah. So I've been going back and forth in my head, but the short and the long is I've decided I'm not even going to bug them. They have not bugged me about replacing their stuff. I'm not going to bug them about the prop. You know, the tripod probably should have been marked better. I think there's FAA requirements for how those things should be marked with a flag on top of them like every other piece of construction equipment out there. But at the same time, I'm a bush pilot. I pride myself on being able to taxi where no one else has before, and that would also be requiring me to be a little more aware of my surroundings. So it was a kind of mistake on both ends, and I'm definitely saying that I'm the one guilty of running into the dang thing. So I'm gonna own up and accept responsibility for that. I decided I'm not gonna, fuss and cause a mess over this. So at this point, the prop strike happened. There's nothing I can do about that. Now, the question was, how do I move forward? And what I decided to do, since the plane was gonna be down, I'm like, I'm gonna attack all my problems right now. Let's just take care of this. So I started with a laundry list of little repairs and tweaks and things that I wanted to get done while the plane was gonna be down for a moment. So first thing in the line was to get a new prop on order. I called up Hal Stockman from Zipper Big Bores, the guy that did all my engine work. He also imports these props from the Ukraine. They're awesome little props. Got one of those coming my way. The second thing was I got the muffler in from Kitfox, brand new muffler and headers. It's actually a whole new exhaust system. Bolted that thing on. Actually, the old one was already cracking after the welds that Ty did. I think once they start to crack, it's just kind of a time bomb. They only last so many hours before it cracks again, and that's something that I'd been dealing with a long time. That thing's been welded more times than I can even count. So the other thing, while it was down, I'm like, let's fix the problem here. The fact that with my big tires and my big gear and everything and that angle of attack that I love so much, my forward visibility sucks, at least in a taxi scenario. So what I did, I pulled the lower cowl off, brought it home. I went ahead and cut windows in the kick panels so that I'd be able to see what's in front of my tires. Basically, that was just cutting some windows out and replacing the cutout portion with Lexan so that I had windows down there where I could see. And then I went one step further and I got a backup camera from a car and I put that up in my nose bowl and ran a little monitor inside so I can actually physically see exactly what's in front of my plane at any time. Now also, while it was down, I took the tires off, put on my little tires for the time being, which is absolutely a shame. It's embarrassing. I shouldn't even be showing you guys this because it looks so dumb.
Look at those little things. Oh.
But took my tires and sent them off to a guy in Idaho who actually recaps them or recoats them. And he's claiming that he has this compound that supposedly doesn't really wear out fast at all. So to me, if this works, which time will tell, I'm gonna hold off on giving too much info until I have more time on the tires, but it could just be the golden ticket with these bush wheels, because that set of $3,000 tires I ran through in just over 1 year. So when I started doing the math on that, I'm like, holy crap, I'm paying like 10 bucks an hour just to fly these tires. So if there's a way that we could prolong the life on these bush wheels, then my main and only complaint with them would be eradicated. So fingers crossed, hoping that worked. Lastly, and the biggest thing here, was making sure that the engine was all right after the prop strike. Now, Rotaxes do have a slipper clutch in them, so they're made to be able to handle a prop strike scenario like what I had without damaging the motor, but you still want to check it just to be safe. So I went ahead and I checked the run out on the prop flange, and then I ended up pulling the gearbox off and checking the gearbox for any damage, as well as checking the run out on the crankshaft. Everything was completely within factory specs, so thank God there was no damage to my motor. So after that, went ahead, bolted on the new prop, went out, tested it out for a little run up, and ended up setting the pitch. I think I actually had to tweak the pitch like 5 times, but I didn't want to film that whole setup. And yeah, and then it brought up the next big hurdle. So now that I had replaced the prop, I needed to go ahead and notify the FAA of my major modification, as that is a requirement for experimentals. When you do anything that is considered a major modification, you have to notify the FAA and normally take it back to phase 1, which with an experimental, for those of you that don't know, basically phase 1 is the first portion of the test flying phase of an experimental. And when an experimental first receives its special airworthiness certificate, the owner, builder, whoever it is gonna have to do all the test flying that has a separate set of operating limitations under phase 1 that would be just for the test period. Basically, normally it's 40 hours for the initial fly off, and you have to go test the plane through all the standard parameters and weights and ensure that this thing is in condition for safe operation. Now, after you finish those 40 hours, then you enter into phase 2, which is the standard operating limitations of an experimental, which allows you to carry passengers and it's less limiting. Now, when you do these major modifications, the FAA often requires you to take it back to phase 1 for a prescribed amount of hours, normally like 3 or 5. And maybe if you did something big, they might tell you need to do 10 hours of test flight with it before you can carry passengers and really go cross country. But when I notified the FAA, they looked into my operating limitations and realized that my operating limitations were actually so old that they didn't even allow me to do that. So of course this opened a whole other bag of worms that I ended up having to get an amended set of operating limitations, a reissued airworthiness certificate, all of that for the airplane, and then I was able to send in a letter requesting my phase 1 fly off, got that approved, then I went through and got into flying it. Now, as you guys have probably noticed, I still have the baby tires on there, and I don't know why, but with the bush gear and now having the bigger wing and everything, and maybe it's just that my mind's used to how it looks with the big tires, which is, I think, a really balanced look. It looks pretty cool with the big tires. Now, you throw the little tires on there and it's such a contrast, it's just embarrassing. It's like this big thing on tiny little feet. It looks like I got like, I don't even know. It's pitiful. Okay, I am still at this moment waiting on my bush wheels to come back. So I'm on these embarrassing tires. I'm trying to get through here quick so no one sees me like this. It's embarrassing.
All right, checking out this front view camera. It works, but it is shooting through the prop and it's getting some crazy prop lines on it. But honestly, it's better than nothing by a long shot, and I'm sitting just straight on center line right now of the taxiway. I can see what's in front of me. Windy today. I wanted to get a test flight in with this prop. Of course, the main runway I use is closed for construction, and the other one puts me at like a 90-degree crosswind. So there's a dirt frontage road over here that's part of the airport property that I know I can take off and land on. Since I'm PIC, I'm gonna say that that's the safest bet right now. All right, here we go. Let's see how this prop does. Not bad. And it is windy. All right. Since the wind is going perfectly crosswind, I will show you guys what I normally do when it's that windy. Because of the way that the wind's blowing, I just set up at an angle. The runway is 150 feet wide, so I basically parallel the runway as I'm coming in, and right at the end I kind of just turn into the wind and roll off onto a taxiway. Let's go ahead and get this thing down.
4, 3, 2.
And we're off. Clear the runway. And I even floated on that one. I missed the first 75 feet of that. It's the traffic. Freedom Fox clear 1-4. Gonna be taxiing Charlie back to the hangars. So, okay, they have another one of those tripods sitting out on the ramp. This time they have 2 cones next to it. The other one only had 1 sitting underneath it, but I'm gonna show you guys what it was that I hit. I'm gonna go ahead and put this away, and yeah, wait for a little bit nicer weather. We got some wind and rain coming in and all this stuff, so of course, my luck would be as soon as I get it flying, the weather comes in, but it gives me time to get things buttoned up, a little more time to get those new tires in and back on. Not new tires, newly capped tires, because there's not much for me to do on these 800s right now, and frankly, I just don't want to be seen on them.
Oh, you guys, it looks so silly. It's so bad. I don't even know what to think. I'm so ashamed. I'm like, those tires need to come back soon. I cannot stand how it looks on those little tires. And I'm not gonna go out and land anywhere cool right now because it would be a really stupid story if I went out and was like, oh, let's see where I can go on 800s and then go flip my plane upside down finding something just because I was impatient waiting on my bush wheels. So I'm kind of in this phase where I got through the 3 hours already of test flight and I'm just doing scenic stuff. I was able to, you know, play at the airport, which normally I don't like landing on pavement. So having the little tires allowed me to go do that, which was pretty fun. And then the one place I did go explore, I went out to Dead Cow just to see how the lake bed was looking and check out who actually showed up to come hang out. Yeah, there's a bonanza coming into land right now. Huh.
Nice seeing you here, man.
Hey, weird looking bush plane.
It is. That's
Yeah.
a weird looking bush plane too.
If I stand at the right angle, it looks fine. Yeah, so JP and Matt just stopped in to say hi, and for those of you that don't know, both of them have done the flight around the world. Matt did it when he was 19, JP did it a little bit later. I believe he did that last year, but they both made some pretty cool videos. So if you guys are, you know, into the aviation stuff on YouTube and you don't follow them already, go check them out. I'll make sure to put a link below to their channels, but they're both cool dudes. Obviously a different type of flying than what I do, but I totally respect it. I'm one of those guys, I'm still scared to go into a towered airport let alone try to cross the Atlantic Ocean in a single piston plane. So yeah, cool dudes, cool to link up with them. So yeah, it was really cool seeing JP and Matt out there, and if you guys haven't yet, go check out their stuff. They both do some very cool flight vlog type stuff, and obviously a total different realm of flying as to what I do. It's so foreign, I don't even know how to talk to those ATC guys. But it was pretty cool meeting up with them, and yeah, now I've got the plane all back together. Hopefully the big tires should be in this next week or so I can actually get back to like landing the cool places instead of just runways and stuff. So anyway, I hope you guys didn't mind yet another video just talking about airplanes and fixing them. I wish it wasn't the case, but unfortunately that's what I've been dealt lately. So I think I've gotten through it. I think I'm ready to just get back and, you know, go land on the side of mountains and stuff. So anyway, hope you guys liked this video. If you did, you know the drill. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Come be my wingman, and we will see you guys on the next one.